Hi, I'm Kalina Grisella, art teacher at Leavenworth High School in Leavenworth, Kansas. Yes, that Leavenworth, that is famous for Melissa Etheridge and Wayne Simeon. So I've been teaching in Leavenworth for 6 years now. I used to teach at the elementary level doing K through 5 art before moving up to the high school, and I've used DIY sketchbooks at both elementary and at the high school. So as much as I love technology, I am still a pen and paper type girl, and I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way. Plus, my eyes are getting very tired after staring at screens all day long because #hybrid.
This is the worst.
Sure, we could supplement technology for a lot of our art activities, mainly to appease our admin who say, don't pass out paper. So we use Chromebooks, and while it's not impossible to use, they're not exactly the easiest to use. And iPads,
Very expensive.
well, yeah, they're very expensive. I can't expect all of my students to go out and buy one because obviously not everyone can afford one. And we could buy sketchbooks, they're already made, Canson, Strathmore, any of those brands, Walmart sells them. But the cost of those can add up quickly, especially if you're in a larger school or if your budget is really super thin because of everything going on. Not to mention, a lot of stores have been selling out of them because we all had the same idea at the same time. So I'm here to show you two fairly fast DIY methods to make sketchbooks with your students. So the first method is pretty simple and straightforward. My mentor teacher actually showed this to me while I was student teaching at the elementary level, and it's definitely one that I've used with my elementary kids as well as my Art 1 high school students. The best part about this method is that you can add handouts from the Art of Ed, coloring sheets, skill builder templates, really anything that you can 3-hole punch and add into the sketchbook. So all you need are 2 pieces of letter size cardstock, several pieces of letter size copy paper. I usually start with 10, 3 1-inch book rings, and a 3-hole punch. You simply 3-hole punch your cardstock and your paper. Use the cardstock as your cover and then fasten everything together with the book rings. I usually let my students choose which color cardstock they want for their covers, and I've also honestly had a ream of pre-punched paper on hand in case they need to replenish. You can also add different types of paper, especially to experiment with paint and watercolor techniques, because copy paper doesn't stand up to acrylic or tempera or watercolor. I've also added coloring sheets and expanded activities for students to have on hand when they finish early. So the second method is much more bookmaking-esque, and the end result can be pretty unique and handmade looking without all of the bookbinding fuss. I actually picked this up at an AP Summer Institute last year. Here I'm cutting down my mat board to 11 by 15 inches, so it will be sure to cover my 11 by 14 papers that I'll add inside. I mark the halfway point on the long edges so I can bend the board in half. And I honestly could have scored the board before bending it, but just bending it along the straight edge does the trick too. So once my cover is folded and ready, it's time to add paper for the pages. Same as the method before, you can honestly add any type of paper into the sketchbook. My students in AP Art and Design can be pretty picky when it comes to their paper, so I always have drawing, Bristol, and watercolor paper on hand for them. For this demo, I'm just going to use 10 sheets of the drawing paper since it's thinner and would normally be more cost effective. Let's pretend I'm using a different brand. All I need to do next with the paper is fold each sheet in half, or fold several at a time if my hand wasn't messed up and I wasn't such a perfectionist. After all sheets of drawing paper are folded, stack them together and then place them inside the cover. Next, I take the elastic head wrap and simply stretch it and slide it over the paper and mat board towards the fold in the center to create the bind. This hair tie is slightly fancier since I grabbed it from Target, and it has a rubber backing to keep it from sliding out of place. So it's not exactly cost effective if I were to purchase this for all 300 of my students, but you get the idea. So in my personal experience with this method, I found that I like having a second band to keep the book closed while transporting it, or just simply while it's not in use so it can lay flat. And clearly you can see that I use this book to keep notes and plan ideas, not just for my class, but also for my own mini body of work that I made during the workshop. And that's it.